Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to Drunk Shakespeare, where we have been gathering these fabulously talented people throughout the quarantine lockdown of 2020. Tonight with special guest Hurricane Laura, brewing in the background of a lot of our Houston actors. We are about to read The Tempest. So without further ado, thank you again, and please enjoy.
Oh, Swain. Bosun,
Master, what cheer?
Good. Speak to thy mariners. Fall to Yarley, or we run ourselves aground. Be stir, be stir.
Aye, me hearts! Cheerily, cheerily, me hearts! Yar, yar! Take in the topsail! Tend to the master's whistle! Blow till the burst the wind, if room enough!
Good boatswain, have care! Where's the master? Play them in!
I pray now, keep below!
Where is the master, bosun?
Do you not hear him? You mar our labor! Keep your cabins! You do assist the storm! I'll be patient when the sea is. Hence, what cares these roarers for the name of king? To cabin! Silence, silence, trouble us not!
Good, yet remember whom thou hast aboard.
None that I love more than myself. You are a counselor. If you can command these elements to silence, work the peace of the present. We will not handle them more. Use your authority. If you cannot, give thanks you have lived so long and make yourself ready in your cabin for the mischance of the hour if it so hap. Surely, good hearts, out of our way, I say.
I have great comfort from this fellow, methinks. He hath no drowning mark upon him. His complexion is perfect gallows. Stand fast, good destiny. Our cable for our own doth little advantage. If he be not born to be hanged, our case is miserable.
Down with the topmast! Yar! Lower! Lower! Bring her to try with the main course! A plague upon this howling! They are louder than our weather or our office. Yet again, what do you hear? Shall we give our and drowned? Have you a mind to sink?
A fox on your throat, you bawling, blasphemous, uncharitable dog!
Well, work you then!
Hang, cur! Hang, you whoreson, insolent noisemaker! We are less afraid to be drowned than thou art.
I'll warn him for drowning, though the ship were no stronger than a nutshell, as leaky as an unstanched wench.
Lay her a hold! A hold! Set her 2 courses! Off to sea again! Lay her off!
All off! To prayers! All off!
What? Must our mouths be cold?
The king and prince at prayers. Let's assist them, for our case is as theirs.
I'm out of patience!
We are merely cheated of our lives by these drunkards. This wide-chopped rascal, would thou mightst lie drowning the washing of 10 tides.
He'll be hanged yet, though every drop of water swear against it and gape at wits to glut him. Mercy on us, we split! Farewell, my wife and children, farewell, brother, we split!
Let's sink with the king.
Let's take leave of him!
Now would I give 1,000 furlongs of sea for an ochre of barren ground, long peace brown, furs, anything, the wills above be done, but I would fain die a dry death.
If, by your art, my dearest father, you have put the waters in this wild roar, allay them. The sky, it seems, would pour down stinking pitch, but that the sea, mounting to the welkin's cheek, dashes the fire out. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. a brave vessel who had, no doubt, some noble creature in her dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, or ere it should the good ship so have swallowed and the frothing souls within her.
Be collected. No more amazement. Tell your piteous heart there's no harm done.
Oh, woe the day!
No harm. I have done nothing but in care of thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter, who art ignorant of what thou art, not knowing of whence I am, nor that I am more better than Prospero, master of a full poor cell, and thy no greater father.
More to know did never meddle with my thoughts.
'Tis time. I should inform thee further. Lend thy hand and pluck my magic garment from me. Lie there, my art, wipe thou thine eyes, have comfort. The direful spectacle of the rack which tucked the very virtue of compassion in thee, I have with such provision in mine art, so safely ordered that there is no soul, no, not so much perdition as an air, betid to any creature in the vessel, which thou heardest cry, which thou sawest sink. Sit down, for thou must now know thy father.
You have often begun to tell me what I am, but stopped, and left me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay, not yet.
The hour's now come. The very minute bids thee ope thy ear. Obey, and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came into this cell? I do not think thou canst, for then thou wast not out 3 years old.
Certainly, sir, I can.
By what? By any other house or person? Of anything the image tell me that hath kept with thy remembrance.
'Tis far off, and rather like a dream than an assurance that my remembrance warrants. Had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me?
Thou hast, and more, Miranda. But how is it that this lives in thy mind? What seest thou else in the dark backward abysm of time? If thou rememberest aught ere thou camest here, how thou camest here they mayest.
But that I do not.
12 years since, Miranda, 12 years since, thy father was the Duke of Milan and a prince of power.
Sir, are not you my father?
Thy mother was a piece of virtue, and she said thou wast my daughter, and thy father was Duke of Milan, and his only heir and princess no worse issued.
Oh, the heavens! What foul play had we that we came from thence? Or blessed wast we did?
Both, my girl. By foul play, as thou sayest, we were heaved thence, but blessedly hope hither.
Oh, my heart bleeds to think of the teen that I have turned you to, which is from my remembrance. Please you farther.
My brother and thine uncle, called Antonio, I pray thee mark me, that a brother should be so perfidious. He whom next thyself of all the world I loved, and to him put the manage of my state, as at that time, all the signatories, it was the first, and Prospero, the prime duke, being so reputed in dignity, and for the liberal arts without a parallel, those being all my study, the government I cast upon my brother, and to my state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret studies. Thy false uncle, dost thou attend me?
Sir, most heedfully.
Being once perfected how to grant suits, how to deny them, who to advance and who to trash for overtopping, new created the creatures that were mine, I say, or changed them, or else formed them, having both the key of officer and office, set all hearts in the state to what tune pleased his ear. And now he was the ivy which had hid my princely trunk and sucked my virtue out on it. Thou attendest not.
Oh, good sir, I do.
I pray thee, mark me. I, thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness and the bettering of my mind, with that which, but being so retired, overprized all popular rate, and in my false brother awakened an evil nature, and my trust, like a good parent, did beget of him a falsehood in its contrary as great as my trust was, which had indeed no limit, a confidence sans bound, he being thus lorded, not only with what my revenue yielded, but what my power might else exact, like one who, having unto truth by telling of it, made such a sinner of his memory to credit his own lie. He did believe he was indeed the Duke, out of the substitution and executing the outward face of royalty with all prerogative. Hence, his ambition growing, dost thou hear?
Your tale, sir, would cure deafness.
To have no screen between this part he played and him he played it for. He needs will be absolute Milan. Me, poor man, my library was dukedom large enough. Of temporal royalties, he thinks me now incapable. Confederates, so dry he was for sway with the king of Naples, to give him annual tribute, do him homage, subject his coronet to his crown, and bend the dukedom, yet unbowed, alas, poor Milan, to most ignoble stooping.
Oh, the heavens.
Mark his condition and the event, then tell me if this might be a brother.
I should sin to think but nobly of my grandmother. Good wombs have borne bad sons.
Now the condition. This king of Naples, being an enemy to me inveterate, hearkens my brother's suit, which was that he, in lieu of the premises of homage, and I know not how much tribute, should presently extirpate me and mine out of the dukedom, and confer fair Milan with all the honors on my brother, whereon a treacherous army levied, one midnight, fated to the purpose, did Antonio open the gates of Milan, and in the dead of darkness, the ministers for the purpose hurried thence, me and thy crying self.
Alack, for pity. I not remembering how I cried out then, will cry it o'er again. It is a hint that brings mine eyes to it.
Hear a little further, and then I'll bring thee to the present business, which now upon us, without which this story were most impertinent.
Wherefore did they not that hour destroy us?
Well demanded, wench. My tale provokes that question. Dear, they durst not. So dear the love my people bore me, nor set a mark so bloody on the business, but with colors fair painted their foul ends. In few, they hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some leagues to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a butt, not rigged, nor tackle, sail, nor mast. The very rats instinctively have quit it. There they hoist us, to cry to the sea that roared to us, to sigh to the winds, whose pity, sighing back again, did us but loving wrong.
Alack, what trouble was I then to you?
Oh, a cherubin, thou what's did preserve me. Thou didst smile, infused with a fortitude from heaven. When I have decked the sea with drops full salt, under my burden groaned, which raised me an undergoing stomach to bear up against what should ensue.
How came we ashore?
By providence divine, some food we had and some fresh water that a noble Neapolitan, Gonzalo, out of his charity, who being then appointed master of this design, did give us with rich garments, linens, stuff, and necessaries, which since have steaded so much of his gentleness. Knowing I loved my books, he furnished me from my own library with volumes that I prize above my dukedom.
Would I might but ever see that man.
Now I arise, sit still, and hear the last of our sea sorrow. Here in this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmaster, made thee more profit than other princes can, that have more time for vainer hours and tutors not so careful.
Heaven thank you for it. And now I pray you, sir, for still 'tis beating in my mind, your reason for raising this sea storm.
Know thus far forth, by accident most strange, bountiful fortune, now, my dear lady, hath my enemies brought to this shore. And by my prescience I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star, whose influence, if now I court not, but omit, my fortunes will ever after droop. Here, cease more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. 'Tis a good dullness, and give it way. I know thou canst not choose. Come away, servant, I am ready now. Approach, my Ariel, come.
All hail, great master, great sir, hail. I come to answer thy best pleasure, be it to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride on the curled clouds. A strong bidding task, Ariel, and all his quality.
Hast thou a spirit performed to point the tempest that I bade thee?
To every article. I boarded the king's ship, now on the beak, now in the waist, the deck, in every cabin I flamed amazement. Sometimes I divide and burn in many places. On the topmast, the yards, and the bowsprit would I flame distinctly, then meet and join. Jove's lightning, the precursors of the dreadful thundercaps, more momentary and sight outrunning, were not. The fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring, the most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege and make his bold waves tremble. Yea, his dread trident shake.
My brave spirit, who was so firm, so constant that this coil would not infect his reason.
Not a soul, but felt a fever of the mad and played some tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged in the foaming brine and quit the vessel, then all the fire with me. The king's son Ferdinand, with hair upstaring then like reeds, not hair, was the first man that leapt, cried, "Hell is empty, and all the devils are here."
Why, that's my spirit. But was not this nigh ashore?
Close by, master.
But are they, Ariel, safe?
Not a hair perished. On their sustaining garments not a blemish, but fresher than before. And as thou badest me, in troops I have dispersed them about the isle. The king's son have I landed by himself, whom I left cooling of the air with sighs in an odd angle of the isle, and sitting his arms in this sand knot.
Of the king's ship, the mariners say how thou hast disposed, and all the rest of the fleet?
Safely in harbor is the king's ship, in the deep nook where once thou calledst me up at midnight to fetch dew from the still vexed Bermuths. there she's hid. The mariners all under hatches stowed, who with a charm joined to their suffering labor, I have left asleep. And to the rest of the fleet, which I've dispersed, they all met again and are upon the Mediterranean float, bound sadly home for Naples, supposing that they saw the king's ship wrecked and his great person perish.
Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed, but there's more work. What is the time of day?
Past the mid-season.
At least 2 glasses. The time twixt 6 and now must by us both be spent most preciously.
Is there more toil? Since thou dost give me pains, let me remember thee what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed me.
How now? Moody! What is it thou canst demand?
My liberty.
Before the time be out, no more.
I prithee, remember, I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made no mistakings, served without grudge or grumblings. Thou didst promise to bake me a full year.
Dost thou forget from what a torment I did free thee?
No.
Thou dost, and thinkest it much to tread the ooze of the salt deep, to run upon the sharp wind of the north, to do me business in the veins of the earth when it is baked with frost?
I do not, sir.
Thou liest, malignant thing. Hast thou forgot the foul witch Syncorax, who with age and envy was grown into a hoop? Hast thou forgot her?
No, sir.
Thou hast. Where was she born? Speak, tell me.
Sir, in Algiers.
Oh, was she so? I must once in a month recount what thou hast been, what thou forgettest. This damned witch Syncorax, for mischiefs manifold and sorceries terrible to enter human hearing, from Algiers, thou knowest, was banished. For one thing she did, they would not take her life. Is this not true?
Aye, sir.
This blue-eyed hag was hither brought with child, and here left by the sailors. Thou, my slave, as thou reportest thyself, was then her servant. And for thou wast a spirit too delicate to act her earthly and abhorred commands, refusing her grand hests, she did confine thee by help of her more potent ministers, and in her most unmitigable rage into a cloven pine, within which rift, imprisoned, thou didst painfully remain a dozen years, within which space she died, and left thee there, where thou didst vent thy groans as fast as mill wheels strike. Then was this island, save for the sun that she did litter here, a freckled whelp, hag-born, not honored with a human shape.
Yes, CALIBAN, her son.
Dull thing, I say so, that CALIBAN, whom now I keep in service. Thou best knowest what torment I did find thee in. Thy groans did make the wolves howl and penetrate the beast, the breasts of ever-angry bears. It was a torment to lay upon the damned, which sink of thorax could not again undo. It was mine art, when I arrived and heard thee, that made gape the pine and let thee out.
I thank thee, master.
If thou more murmurest, I will rend an oak and peg thee in his knotty entrails till thou hast howled away 12 winters.
And master, I will be correspondent to command and do my spiriting gently.
Do so, and after 2 days, I will discharge thee.
Oh, that's my noble master. What shall I do? Say what? What shall I do?
Go make thyself like a nymph of the sea. Be subject to no sight but thine and mine, invisible to every eyeball else. Go, take this shape. and hither come in it. Go hence with diligence. Awake, awake, dear heart, awake. Thou hast slept well, awake.
The strangeness of your story put heaviness in me.
Shake it off. Come on. We'll visit Caliban, my slave, who never yields us kind answer.
'Tis a villain, sir, I do not love to look on.
But as 'tis, we cannot miss him. He does make our fire, fetch in our wood, and serves in offices that profit us. What ho! Slave, Caliban, thou earth, thou, speak.
There's wood enough within.
Come forth, I say. There's other business for thee. Come, thou tortoise. When? Fine apparition, my quaint Ariel. Hearken thine ear.
My lord, it shall be done.
Thou poisonous slave, got by the devil himself upon thy wicked dam, come forth.
As wicked do as ere my mother brushed with raven's feather from unwholesome fen, drop on you both. A southwest blow on you and blister you all over.
For this be sure, tonight thou shalt have cramps, side stitches that shall pin thy breath up, urchins shall forth at vast of night, that they may work all exercise on thee. Thou shalt be pinched as thick as honeycomb, each pinch more stinging than bees that made 'em.
I must eat my dinner. This island's mine by Sycorax, my mother, which thou takest from me. When thou camest first, thou strokest me and made much of me. Wouldst give me water with berries in it, and teach me how to name the bigger light, and how the less that burn by day and night. And then I loved thee, and showed thee all the qualities of the isle. The fresh springs, brine pits, barren place and fertile. Cursed be I that did so. All the charms of Sycorax, toads, beetles, bats, light on you. For I am all the subjects that you have, which first was mine own king. And here you stay me in this hard rock, whiles you do keep from me the rest of the island.
Thou most lying slave, whom stripes may move, not kindness, I have used thee, filth as thou art, with humane care, and lodged thee in mine own cell, till thou didst seek to violate the honor of my child.
Oh, ho, oh, ho! Wouldn't have been done. Thou didst prevent me. I had peopled else this isle with CALIBANs.
Abhorred slave, which any print of goodness will not take, being capable of all ill. I pitied thee, took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or other. When thou didst not, savage, know thine own meaning, but would gabble like a thing most brutish, I endowed thy purposes with words that made them known. But thy vile race, though thou didst learn, had that end which good natures could not abide to be with. Therefore wast thou deservedly confined into this rock, who hadst deserved more than a prison.
You taught me language, and my profit on it is I know how to curse. The red plague rids you for learning me your language.
Hagseed hence. Fetch us in fuel, and be quick. Thou art best to answer other business. Shruggest thou malice? If thou neglectest, or dost unwillingly what I command, I'll rack thee with old cramps, fill all thy bones with aches, make thee roar, that beasts shall tremble at thy den.
No, pray thee. I must obey. His art is of such power it would control my damned god Setebos. make a vassal of him.
Go, slave, hence!
Unto these yellow sands, and then take hands. Curtsies when you haven't kissed, the wild waves whist, footed feedly here and there, and sweet sprites bear the burden. Hark, hark, bow wow, the watchdogs bark. Bow wow, the watchdogs bark. Hark, hark, I hear the strain of strutting chanticleer. Cry, cock-a-doodle-doo.
Where should this music be? In the air or the earth? It sounds no more. And sure it waits upon some god of the island, sitting on a bank, weeping again the king of my father's wreck. This music crept by me upon the waters, allaying both their fury and my passion with its sweet air. Thence I followed it, or it hath drawn me rather, but 'tis gone. No, it begins again.
Full fathom 5, thy father lies. Of his bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes. Nothing of him that doth fade, but doth suffer a sea change into something rich and strange. Seen him early ring his bell. Ding dong. Hark, now I hear them. Ding dong.
The ditty does know my drowned father. There is no mortal business, nor no sound that the earth owes. I hear it now above me.
The fringed curtains of thine eye advance, and say what thou seest yond.
What is't? A spirit? Lord, how it looks about. Believe me, sir, it carries a brave form, but 'tis a spirit.
No, wench, it eats and sleeps, and hath such senses as we have, such. This gallant which thou seest was in the rack, but he's something stained with grief. That's beauty's canker. Thou mightest call him a goodly person. He hath lost his fellows, and strays about to find them.
I might call him a thing divine, for nothing natural I ever saw so noble.
It goes on, I see, as my soul prompts it. Spirit, fine spirit, I'll free thee within 2 days for this.
Most sure, the goddess on whom these airs attend, vouchsafe my prayer. May know if you remain upon this island, and that you will some good instruction give how I may bear me here. My prime request, which I do last pronounce, is, oh, you wonder, if you be maid or no.
No wonder, sir, but certainly a maid.
My language, heavens. I am the best of them that speak this speech, were I but where 'tis spoken.
How, the best? What wert thou if the king of Naples heard thee?
A single thing, as I am now that wonders to hear thee speak of Naples. He does hear me, and that he does, I weep. Myself am Naples, who with mine eyes never since an ebb beheld the king my father wrecked.
Alack for mercy!
Yes, faith, and all his lords, the Duke of Milan and his brave son being twain.
The Duke of Milan and his more braver daughter could control thee, if now 'twere fit to do it. At the first sight they have changed eyes. delicate Ariel, I'll set thee free for this. A word, good sir, I fear you have done yourself some wrong. A word.
Why speaks my father so ungently? This is the third man that e'er I saw, the first that e'er I sighed for. Pity move my father to be inclined my way.
Oh, if a virgin in your affection not gone forth, I'll make you the Queen of Naples.
Soft, sir. One word more. They are both in either's powers, but this swift business I must uneasy make, lest too light winning may make the prize light. One word more, I charge thee that thou attend me. Thou dost here usurp the name thou owest not, and hast put thyself upon this island as a spy to win it from me, the Lord on it.
No, as I am a man.
There's nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. If the ill spirit have so fair a house, good things will strive to dwell with.
Follow me. Speak not you for him, he's a traitor. Come, I'll manacle thy neck and feet together. Sea water shalt thou drink. Thy food shall be the fresh brook mussels, withered roots and husks, wherein the acorn cradled. Follow.
I will resist such entertainment till mine enemy has more power.
Oh, dear father, make not too rash a trial of him, for he's gentle and not fearful.
What I say, my foot, my tutor? Thy sword up, traitor, who makest a show but darest not strike. Thy conscience is so possessed with guilt. Come from thy ward, for I can here disarm thee with this stick and make thy weapon drop.
Beseech you, father.
Hence, hang not upon my garments.
There, have pity, I'll be his surety.
Silence! One word more shall make me chide thee, if not hate thee. What? An advocate for an impostor? Hush! Thou thinkest there is no more shapes such as he, having seen but him and Caliban? Foolish wench! 'Tis the most of men, this is a Caliban, and they to him are angels.
My affections are then most humble. I have no ambition to see a goodlier man.
Come on, obey. Thy nerves are in their infancy again and have no vigor in them.
So they are. My spirits, as in a dream, are all bound up. My father's loss, the weakness which I feel, the wrack of all my friends, nor this man's threats to whom I am subdued, are but light to me. Might I but through my prison once a day behold this maid, all corners else of the earth let liberty make use of. Space enough have I in such a prison.
It works. Come on. Thou hast done well, fine Ariel. Follow me. Hark what thou else shall do me.
Be of comfort. My father's of a better nature, sir, than he appears by speech. This is unwonted, which now came from him.
Thou shalt be as free as mountain winds, but then exactly do all points of my command.
To the syllable.
Come, follow. Speak not for him.
Beseech you, sir, be merry. You have cause. So have we all of joy, for our escape is much beyond our loss. Our hint of woe is common. Every day some sailor's wife, the masters of some merchant, and the merchant have just our theme of woe. But for the miracle, I mean our preservation, few in millions can speak like us. Then wisely, good sir, weigh our sorrow with our comfort.
Prithee, peace.
He receives comfort like an old porridge.
The visitor will not give him Orso.
Look, he's winding up the watch of his wit. By and by it will strike.
Sir?
One, tell.
When every grief is entertained that's offered, comes to the entertainer.
$1.
Dolor comes to him indeed. You have spoken truer than you purposed.
You have taken it wiselier than I meant you should.
Therefore, my lord,
Aye, what a spendthrift is he of his tongue.
I prithee, spare.
Well, I have done. But yet,
He will be talking.
Which of he or Adrian, for a good wager, first begins to crow?
The old cock.
The cockerel.
Done. The wager?
A laughter.
A match.
Though this island seemed to be desert.
So you're paid.
Uninhabitable and almost inaccessible.
Yet.
He could not miss it.
It must needs be of subtle, tender, and delicate temperance.
Temperance was a delicate wench.
Aye, and as subtle as he most learnedly delivered.
The air breathes upon us here most sweetly.
As if it had lungs, and rotten ones.
Or as 'twere perfumed by a fen.
here is everything advantageous to life.
True, save means to live.
Of that there's none, or little.
How lush and lusty the grass looks, how green.
The ground indeed is tawny.
With an eye of green in it.
He misses not much.
No, he doth but mistake the truth totally.
But the rarity of it is, which is almost indeed beyond credit,
As many vouched rarities are.
that our garments, being as they were drenched in the sea, hold notwithstanding their freshness and gloss, being rather new dyed than stained with salt water.
If but one of his pockets could speak, would it not say he lies?
Aye, or very falsely pocket up his report.
Methinks our garments are now as fresh as when we put them on first in Afric, at the marriage of the king's fair daughter, Claribel, to the king of Tunis.
'Twas a sweet marriage, and we prosper well in our return.
Tunis was never graced before with such a paragon to their queen.
Not since Widow Dido's time.
Widow? A pox of that. How came that widow in? Widow Dido.
What if he had said widower Aeneas too? Good Lord, how you take it.
Widow Dido, said you? You make me study of that. She was of Carthage, not of Tunis.
This Tunis, sir, was Carthage.
Carthage?
I assure you, Carthage.
His word is more than the miraculous harp.
He hath raised the wall and houses too.
What impossible matter will he make easy next?
I think he will carry this island home in his pockets and give it to his son for an apple.
Oh, and sowing the kernels of it in the sea, bring forth more islands.
Aye.
Why, in good time.
Sir, we were talking that our garments seem now as fresh as when we were at Tunis, at the marriage of your daughter, who is now queen.
And the rarest that e'er came here.
Fate, I beseech you, fate. Widow Dido.
Widow Dido. Aye, Widow Dido.
Is not, sir, my doublet as fresh as the first day I wore it? I mean, in a sort.
That sort was well fished for.
When I wore it at your daughter's marriage?
Cram these words into mine ears against the stomach of my sense. Would I had never married my daughter there, for coming thence, my son is lost. And at my rate she too, who is so far from Italy removed, I ne'er again shall see her. O thou mine heir of Naples and of Milan, what strange fifth hath made his meal on thee?
Sir, he may live. I saw him beat the surges under him and ride upon their backs. He trod the water, whose enmity he flung aside, and breasted the surge most swollen that met him. His bold head 'bove the contentious waves he kept, and oared himself with his good arms in lusty strokes to the shore, that o'er his wave-worn basis bowed, as stooping to relieve him. I not doubt he came alive to land.
No, he's gone.
Sir, you may thank yourself for this great loss, that you would not bless our Europe with your daughter, but rather lose her to an African, where she at least is banished from your eye, who had cause to wet the grief on it.
Prithee, peace.
You were kneeled to and importuned otherwise by all of us, and the fair soul herself, weighed between loathness and obedience, at which end the beam should bow, have lost your son, I fear, forever. Milan and Naples, more widows in them of this business making than we bring men to comfort them. The fault's your own.
So is the dearest still the loss.
My lord Sebastian, the truth you speak doth lack some gentleness, and time to speak it in. You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster.
Very well.
And most chirurgeonly.
It is foul weather in us all, sir, when you are cloudy.
Foul weather.
Very foul.
Had I plantation of this isle, my lord?
He'd sow it with nettle seed.
Or docks or mallows.
And were the king on't, what would I do?
Escaping drunk for want of wine.
In the Commonwealth, I would by contraries execute all things, for no kind of traffic would I admit. No name of magistrate. Letters should not be known. Riches, poverty, and use of service, none. Contract, succession, born, bound of land, tithe, vineyard, none. No use of metal, corn, or wine, or oil. No occupation, all men idle, all, and women too, but innocent and pure. No sovereignty.
Yet he would be king on it.
The latter end of his commonwealth forgets the beginning.
All things in common nature should produce without sweat or endeavor. Treason, felony, sword, pike, knife, gun, or any need of any engine would I not have, but nature should bring forth of its own kind all foisome, all abundance to feed my innocent people.
No marrying among his subjects.
None, man, all idle, whores and knaves.
I would with such perfection govern, sir, to excel the golden age.
Save his majesty.
Long live Gonzalo.
Do you mark me, sir?
Prithee, no more. Thou dost talk nothing to me.
I do well believe, your highness, and did it to minister occasion to these gentlemen, who are of such sensible and nimble lungs that they always used to laugh at nothing.
'Twas you we laughed at.
Who in this kind of merry fooling am nothing to you. So you may continue and laugh at nothing still.
Oh, what a blow was there given! Whew.
And it had not fallen flat long.
You gentlemen of brave metal, you would lift the moon out of her sphere if she would continue in it 5 weeks without changing.
We would so, and then go a bat fowling.
Nay, good my lord, be not angry.
No, I warrant you. I would not adventure my discretion so weakly. Will you laugh me asleep? I'm very heavy.
Go sleep and hear us.
What? All so soon asleep? I wish mine eyes would, with themselves, shut up my thoughts. I find they are inclined to do so.
Please you, sir, do not omit the heavy offer of it. It seldom visits sorrow. When it doth, it is a comforter.
We too, my lord, will guard your person while you take your rest and watch your safety.
Thank you. Wondrous heavy.
What a strange drowsiness possesses them.
It is the quality of the climate.
Why doth it not then our eyelids sink? I find not myself disposed to sleep.
Nor I. My spirits are nimble. They fell together all, as by consent. They dropped as by a thunderstroke. What might, worthy Sebastian? Oh, what might, no more. And yet, methinks I see it in thy face what thou shouldst be. The occasion speaks thee, and my strong imagination sees a crown dropping upon thy head.
What? Art thou waking?
Do you not hear me speak?
I do, and surely it is a sleepy language, and thou speakest out of thy sleep. What is it thou didst say? This is a strange response, to be asleep with eyes wide open, standing, speaking, moving, and yet so fast asleep.
Noble Sebastian, thou lett'st thy fortune sleep, die rather, wink'st whiles thou art waking.
Thou dost snore distinctly. There's meaning in thy snores.
I am more serious than my custom. You must be so too, if heed me, which to do trebles the oar.
Well, I am standing water.
I'll teach you how to flow.
Do so. To ebb, hereditary sloth instructs me.
If you but knew how you the purpose cherish, whiles thus you mock it, how in stripping it you more invest it. Ebbing men indeed most often do so near the bottom run by their own fear or sloth.
Prithee, say on. The setting of thine eye and cheek proclaim a matter from thee, and a birth indeed which throws thee much to yield.
Thus, sir, although this lord of weak remembrance, this who shall be of us little memory when he is earthed, hath here almost persuaded, for he's a spirit of persuasion only, professes to persuade, the king his sons alive. 'Tis as impossible that he's undrowned as he that sleeps here swims.
I have no hope that he's undrowned.
Oh, out of that, no hope. What great hope have you? No hope that way is. Another way, so high a hope that even ambition cannot pierce a wink beyond, but doubt discover there. Will you grant with me that Ferdinand is drowned?
He's gone.
Then tell me, who's the next heir of Naples?
Claribel.
She that is queen of Tunis, she that dwells 10 leagues beyond man's life, she that from Naples can have no note unless the sun were post, the man the moon too slow, till newborn chins be rough and razorable. She that from whom we all were sea-swallowed, though some cast again, and by that destiny to perform an act whereof what's past is prologue, what to come in yours and my discharge.
What stuff is this? How say you? 'Tis true, my brother's daughters, Queen of Tunis. So is she heir of Naples, twixt which regions there is some space.
A space whose every cubit seems to cry out, how shall that Clarabelle measure us back to Naples? Keep in Tunis, and let Sebastian wake. Say this were death that now hath seized them. Why, they were no worse than now they are. There be that can rule Naples as well as he that sleeps. Lords that can prate as amply and unnecessarily as this Gonzalo. I myself could make a cough of as deep chat. Oh, that you bore the mind that I do. What a sleep were this for your advancement. You understand me?
Methinks I do.
And how does your content tender your good fortune?
I remember you did supplant your brother Prospero.
True. And look how well my garments sit upon me, much feeter than before. My brother's servants were then my fellows, now they are my men.
But for your conscience.
Aye, sir. Where lies that? If 'twere a kibe, 'twould put me to my slipper. But I feel not this deity in my bosom. 20 consciences that stand twixt me and Milan, candied be they, and melt ere they molest. Here lies your brother, no better than the earth he lies upon. If he were that which now he's like, that's dead, whom I with this obedient steel, 3 inches of it, can lay to bed forever, whilst you, doing thus, to the perpetual wink for eye, might put this ancient morsel, this Sir Prudence, who should not abrade our course. For all the rest, they'll take suggestion as a cat laps milk. They'll tell the clock to any business that we say befits the hour.
Thy case, dear friend, shall be my precedent. As thou gott'st Milan, I'll come by Naples. Draw thy sword. One stroke shall free thee from thy tribute, which thou payest, and I, the king, shall love thee.
Draw together, and when I rear my hand, do you the like to fall it on Gonzalo.
Oh, but one word.
My master, through his art, foresees the danger that you, his friend, are in, and sends me forth, for else his project dies, to keep them living. While you here do snoring lie, open-eyed conspiracy his time doth take. If of life you keep a care, shake off slumber and beware. Awake! Awake!
Then let us both be sudden.
Oh, good angels, preserve the king.
Why, how now, ho! Awake? Why are you drawn? Wherefore this ghastly looking?
What's the matter?
Oh, whilst we stood here securing your repose, even now we heard a hollow burst of bellowing like bulls or rather lions. Didn't not wake you? It struck mine ear most terribly.
I heard nothing.
Oh, 'twas a din to fright a monster's ear, to make an earthquake. Sure, it was the roar of a whole herd of lions.
Heard you this, Gonzalo?
Upon mine honor, sir, I heard a humming, and that a strange one too, which did awake me. I shaked you, sir, and cried. As my eyes opened, I saw their weapons drawn. There was a noise, that's verily. 'Tis best we stand upon our guard, or that we quit this place. Let's draw our weapons.
Lead off this ground, and let's make further search for my poor son.
Oh, heaven keep him from these beasts, for he is sure in the island.
Lead away.
Prospero, my lord, shall know what I have done. So, king, go safely on to seek thy son.
All the infections that the sun sucks up from bogs, fens, flats, on Prosper fall and make him by inchmeal a disease. His spirits hear me, and yet I needs must curse. But they'll nor pitch, fright me with urchin shows, pitch me in the mire, nor lead me like a firebrand in the dark out of my way unless he bid 'em. But for every trifle are they set upon me, sometimes like apes that mow and chatter at me, and after bite me. Then like hedgehogs which lie tumbling in my barefoot way, and mount their pricks at my footfall. Sometime am I all wound with adders, who with cloven tongues do hiss me into madness. Lo, now, lo! Here comes a spirit of his, and to torment me for bringing wood in slowly. I'll fall flat, perchance he will not mind me.
There's neither bush nor shrub to bear off any weather at all. And another storm brewing. I hear it sing in the wind. Yon same black cloud, yon huge one, looks like a foul bombard that would shed his liquor. If it should thunder as it did before, I know not where to hide my head. Yon same cloud cannot choose, but fall by pailfuls. What have we here? A man or a fish? Dead or alive? A fish. He smells like a fish. Oh, a very ancient and fish-like smell. A kind of not of the newest, poor John. Strange fish. Why, in England now, as once I was, and had but this fish painted, not a holiday fool there, but would give a piece of silver. There would this monster make a man. Any strange beast there makes a man. When they will not give a doit to relieve a lame beggar, they will lay out 10 to see a dead Indian. Legged like a man, and his fins like arms, warm. Oh, my troth, I do now let loose my opinion. Hold it no longer, this is no fish, but an islander that hath lately suffered by a thunderbolt. Alas, the storm is coming again. My best way is to creep under his gabardine. There is no other shelter hereabout. Misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows. I will here shroud till the dregs of the storm pass.
Down the moor to sea, here shall I die ashore. This is a very scurvy tune to sing at a man's funeral. Well, here's to my comfort. The master, the swabber, and the boatswain and I, the gunner and his mate, love my old Meg and Marian and Marjorie, but none of us cared for Kate. She had a tongue with the tang, would cry to a sailor, go hang. She loved not of the savor of tar nor a pitch, yet a tailor might scratch her where she did itch. This is a scurvy tune, sir, too, but here's to my comfort.
Do not torment me! Ow!
What is the matter? Have we devils here? Do you put tricks upon his with savages and men of end? I am not scraped drowning to be afeard now of your 4 legs. For it hath been said, as proper a man as ever went on 4 legs cannot make him give ground. And it shall be said so again, while Stephanie breathes at nostrils.
The spirit torments me. Oh!
This is some monster of the isle with 4 legs who hath got, as I take it, an ague. Where the devil should he learn our language? Ugh. I will give him some relief, if it be but for that. If I can recover him and keep him tame and get to Naples with him, he is a present for any emperor that ever trod on neat's leather.
Not torment me, prithee. I'll bring my wood home faster.
He's in a fit now, is not talk after the wisest. He shall taste of my bottle. If he have never drunk wine afore, it will go near to remove his fit. If I can recover him and keep him tame, I will not take too much for him. He shall pay for him that hath him, and that soundly.
Thou dost me yet but little hurt. Thou wilt anon, I know it by thy trembling. Now prosper works upon thee.
Come your ways, open your mouth. Here is that which will give you language to a cat. Open your mouth. This will shake your shaking, I can tell you that soundly. You cannot tell who's your friend. Open your chops again.
I should know that voice. It should be, but he's drowned, and these be devils. Oh, defend me.
Oh my God. 4 legs and 2 voices. A most delicate monster. His forward voice now is to speak well of his friend. His backward voice is to utter foul speeches and to detract. If all the wine in my bottle will recover him, I help this ague. Come. Amen. I will pour some in thy other mouth.
Stephano?
Doth thy other mouth call me? Oh, mercy, there's the devil, and that is no monster. I will leave him, for I have no long spoon.
Stephano! If thou be a Stephano, touch me and speak to me, for I am Trinculo. Be not afeard, good Trinculo.
If thou beest Trinculo, come forth. I'll pull thee by their lesser legs. If any be Trinculo's legs, these are they. Oh my God, thou art very Trinculo indeed. How camest thou to be siege of this moon calf? Can she vent, Trinculus?
I took him to be killed with a thunderstroke. But art thou not drowned, Stephano? I hope thou art not drowned. Is the storm overblown? I hid me under the dead moon calf's gabardine for fear of the storm, and thou art living, Stephano. Oh, Stephano, 2 Neapolitans escaped.
Prithee, do not, turn me about, my stomach is not constant.
These be fine things, and if they be not sprites, That's a brave god and bears celestial liquor. I will near to him.
How didst thou escape? How comest thou hither? Swear by this bottle how thou camest hither. I escaped upon the butt of sack, which the sailors heaved overboard by this bottle, which I have made the bark of a tree with mine own hands since I was cast ashore. It's gross.
I'll swear upon that bottle to be thy true subject, for the liquor is not earthly.
Here, swear then thou escapest.
Swum ashore, man, like a duck. I can swim like a duck. I'll be sworn.
Here, kiss the bug.
Ooh.
Though thou canst swim like a duck, thou art made like a goose.
Stefano, hast thou any more of this?
No, but, man, my cellar is in a rock by the seaside, where my wine is hid. How now, mooncalf? How does thine ague?
Hast thou not dropped from heaven?
Out of the moon, I do assure thee. I was the man in the moon when time was.
I have seen thee in her, and I do adore thee. My mistress showed me thee and thy dog in thy bush.
Come, swear to that. Kiss the book. I will furnish it anon with new countenance. Swear.
By this good light, this is a very shallow monster. I have feared of him, a very weak monster. The man in the moon. Oh, most poor credulous monster. Monster, good in sooth.
I'll show thee every fertile inch of the island, and I will kiss thy foot. I prithee, be my god.
By this light, a most perfidious and drunken monster. When his god's asleep, he'll rob his bottle.
I'll kiss thy foot. I'll swear myself thy subject.
Come on, then, down and swear.
I shall laugh myself to death at this puppy-headed monster, a most scurvy monster. I can find in my heart to beat him.
Kiss.
But that this poor monster's in drink, an abominable monster.
I'll show thee the best springs. I'll pluck thee berries. I'll fish for thee and get thee wood enough. A plague upon the tyrant that I serve. I'll bear him no more sticks, but follow thee, thou wondrous man.
Oh, most ridiculous monster, to make a hunger of a poor drunkard.
I pray thee, let me bring thee where crabs grow, and I with my long nails will dig thee pig nuts, show thee a jay's nest, and instruct thee how to snare the nimble marmoset. I'll bring thee to clustering filberts, and sometimes I'll get thee young scammels from the rock. Wilt thou go with me?
Pray thee now, lead the way, without any more talking. Trinculo, the king and all of our company, else being drowned, we will inherit here. Here, bear my bottle. Follow Trinculo, we'll fill him by and by again.
Farewell, master, farewell, farewell.
Howling monster, a drunken monster.
No more dams I'll make for fish, nor fetching, firing at, requiring, nor strength, trenchering, nor wash dish. Ban, ban, CALIBAN has a new master, get a new man. Freedom, high day, freedom, freedom, high day, freedom.
Oh, brave monster, lead the way.
There be some sports are painful, and their labor delight in them sets off. Some kinds of baseness are nobly undergone, and most poor matters point to rich ends. This, my mean task, would be as heavy to me as odious, but the mistress which I serve quickens what's dead and makes my labors pleasures. Oh, she is 10 times more gentle than her father's crabbed and he's composed of harshness. I must remove some thousands of these logs and pile them up upon a sore injunction. My sweet mistress weeps when she sees me work and says such baseness. I never liked executor. I forget. But these sweet thoughts do even refresh my labors most busiest when I do it.
Alas, now pray you work not so hard. I would the lightning had burnt up those logs that you are enjoined to pile. Pray set it down and rest you. When this burns, it will weep for having wearied you. My father is hard at study. Pray now, rest yourself. He's safe for these 3 hours.
Oh, most dear mistress, the sun will set before I shall discharge what I must strive to do.
If you'll sit down, I'll bear your logs the while. Pray, give me that. I'll carry it to the pile.
No, precious creature, I had rather crack my sinews, break my back, than you should such dishonor undergo while I sit lazy by.
It would become me as well as it does you, and I should do it with much more ease, for my good will is to it, and yours it is against.
Poor worm, thou art infected. This visitation shows it.
You look wearily.
No, noble mistress, 'tis fresh morning with me, when you are by at night. I do beseech you, chiefly that I might set it in my prayers. What is your name?
Miranda. Oh, my father, I've broke your hest to say so.
Admired Miranda. Indeed, the top of admiration worth what's dearest to the world. Full many a lady I have eyed with best regard, and many a time the harmony of their tongues hath into bondage brought my too diligent ear. But for several virtues I have eyed, like several women, never any with so full soul, but some defect in her did quarrel with the noblest grace she owed, and put it to the foil. But you, oh you, so perfect and so peerless, are created of every creature's best.
I do not know one of my sex, no woman's face remember, save from my glass mine own. Nor have I seen more that I may call men than you, good friend, and my dear father. How features are abroad I am skillless of, but by my modesty, the jewel in my dower, I would not wish any companion in the world but you, nor can imagination form a shape besides yours to like of. But I prattle something too wildly, and my father's precepts I therein do forget.
I am in my condition, a prince, Miranda. I do think a king. I would not so, and would no more endure this wooden slavery than to suffer the flesh fly blow my mouth. Hear my soul speak. The very instant that I saw you, did my heart fly to your service. There resides to make me slave to it, and for your sake am I this patient logman.
Do you love me?
Oh, heaven, oh earth, bear witness to this sound, and crown what I profess with the kind event, if I speak true. If hollowly invert what best has boded me to mischief, I, beyond all limit of what else i' the world, do love, prize, honor you.
I am a fool to weep at what I am glad of.
Fair encounter of two most rare affections. Heavens rain grace on that which breeds between them.
Wherefore weep you?
At mine unworthiness, that dare not offer what I desire to give, and much less take what I shall die to want. But this is trifling, and all the more it seeks to hide itself, the bigger bulk it shows. Hence bashful cunning, and prompt me plain and holy innocence. I am your wife if you will marry me. If not, I'll die your maid. To be your fellow you may deny me, but I'll be your servant, whether you will or no.
My mistress, dearest, and I thus humble ever.
My husband, then?
I, with a heart as willing as bondage air of freedom, here's my hand.
And mine, with my heart in't. And now, farewell till half an hour hence.
1,000,000.
So glad of this as they I cannot be, who are surprised withal, but my rejoicing at nothing can be more. I'll to my book, For yet ere supper time I must perform much business appertaining.
Sorry, guys. Blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry. Tell not me. When the butt is out, we will drink water. Not a drop before. Therefore bear up and boredom. Servant monster, drink to me.
Servant monster?
Yeah.
Island. They say there's but 5 upon this isle. We are 3 of them. If the other 2 be brain like us, the state totters.
Drink, servant monster, when I bid thee. Thy eyes are almost set in thy head.
Where should they be set else? He were a brave monster indeed if they were set in his tail.
My man monster hath drowned his tongue in sack. For my part, the sea cannot drown me. I swam, ere I could recover the shore, 35 leagues off and on by this light. Thou shalt be my lieutenant, monster, or my standard.
Your lieutenant, if you list, he's no standard.
We'll not run, monsieur monster.
Nor go neither, but you'll lie like dogs and yet say nothing neither.
Mooncalf, speak once in my life, if thou beest a good mooncalf.
How does thy honor? Let me lick thy shoe. I'll not serve him, he is not valiant.
Thou liest, most ignorant monster. I am in case to justle a constable. Why, thou debauched fish, thou. Was there ever a man a coward that hath drunk so much sack as I today? Wilt thou tell a monstrous lie, being but half a fish and half a monster?
Know how he mocks me. Wilt thou let him, my lord?
Lord, quoth he, that a monster should be such a natural.
No, no again. Bite him to death, I prithee.
Trinculo, keep a good tongue in your head if you prove a mutineer the next tree. The poor monster is my subject. He shall not suffer indignity.
I thank my noble lord. Wilt thou be pleased to hearken once again to the suit I made to thee?
Marry, I will. Kneel and repeat it. I will stand, and so will Tranquillo.
As I told thee before, I am subject to a tyrant, a sorcerer that by his cunning hath cheated me of the island.
Thou liest.
Thou liest, thou jesting monkey, thou. I would my valiant master would destroy thee. I do not lie.
Trinculo, if you trouble him any more, as the tail by his hand, I will supplant some of your teeth.
Why, I said nothing.
Hum then, and no more. Proceed.
I say by sorcery he got this isle. From me he got it. If thy greatness will, revenge it on him, for I know thou darest, but this thing dare not.
That's most certain.
Thou shalt be lord of it, and I'll serve thee.
How now shall this be compassed? Canst thou bring me to the party?
Yea, my lord, I'll yield him thee asleep, where thou mayest knock a nail into his head.
Thou liest, thou canst not.
What a pied ninny's this, thou scurvy patch! I do beseech thy greatness, give him blows and take his bottle from him. When that's gone, he shall drink naught but brine. For I'll not show him where the quick freshes are.
Trinculo, run into no further danger. Interrupt the monster one word further. By this hand, I'll turn my mercy out of the doors and make a stockfish of thee.
I did nothing. I'll go farther off.
Didst thou not say that he liest?
Thou liest.
Do I so? Thou take that. As you like this, give me the lie one more time.
I did not give the lie. Out of your wits and hearing to a pox on your bottle, this can sack and drinking to a myriad on your monster, and the devil take your fingers.
Now forward with your tale. I pray thee, stand further off.
Beat him enough. After a little time, I'll beat him too.
Stand further. Come, proceed.
Why, as I told thee, 'tis a custom with him in the afternoon to sleep.
Okay.
There thou mayest brain him, having first seized his books, or with a log batter his skull, or punch him with a stake, or cut his weasand with a knife. Remember first to possess his books, for without them he is but a sot, as I am, nor hath not one spirit to command. They all do hate him as rootedly as I, burn but his books. He has brave utensils, so he calls them, which when he has a house he'll deck with art. And that most deeply to consider is the beauty of his daughter. He himself calls her a non-pareil. I never saw a woman but only Sycorax, my dam and she. But she as far surpasseth Sycorax as greatest does least.
Is it so brave a lass?
Aye, Lord, she will become thy bed, I warrant, and bring thee forth brave brood.
Ew. Monster, I will kill this man. His daughter and I will be queen and queen. Save our graces, and Trinculo and thyself shall be viceroys. Dost thou like the plot, Trinculo?
Excellent.
Give me thy hand. I am sorry I beat thee, but while thou livest, keep a good tongue in thine head.
Within this half hour will he be asleep. Wilt thou destroy him then?
Aye, on mine honor.
This will I tell my master.
Thou makest me merry. I am full of pleasure. Let us be jocund. Will you draw the catch you taught me but well?
At thy request, monster, I will do reason, any reason. Come on, Trinculo, let us sing. Flout 'em and clout 'em and scout 'em and flout 'em, thought is free.
That's not the tune.
What is the same?
This is the tune of our catch, played by the picture of nobody.
If thou beest a man, show thyself in thy likeness. If thou beest a devil, takest as thou list.
Oh, forgive me my sins.
He that dies pays all debts. I defy thee. Mercy, mercy upon us.
Art thou afeard?
No, monster, not I.
Be not afeard. The isle is full of noises, sounds and sweet airs that give delight and hurt not. Sometimes 1,000 twangling instruments will hum about mine ears, and sometimes voices that, if I then had waked after long sleep, will make me sleep again. And then, in dreaming, the clouds methought would open and show riches ready to drop upon me, that when I waked, I cried to dream again.
This will prove a brave kingdom to me, where I shall have my music for nothing.
When Prospero is destroyed,
That shall be by and by. I remember the story.
Sound is going away. Let's follow it, and after do our work.
Lead, monster, we'll follow. I would I could see that this tabor. He lays it on. Will it come?
I'll follow, Stephano.
By our Larkin, I can go no farther, sir. My old bones ache. Here's a maze indeed, through forthrights and meanders. By your patience, I must needs rest me.
Old Lord, I cannot blame thee, who am myself attached with weariness to the dulling of my spirits. Sit down and rest. Even here I will put off my hope and keep it no longer for my flatterer. He is drowned, whom thus we stray to find, and the sea mocks our frustrate search on land. Well, let him go.
I am right glad that he's so out of hope. Do not for one repulse forego the purpose that you resolved to effect.
The next advantage will we take thoroughly.
Let it be tonight, for now they are pressed with travel. They will not nor cannot use such vigilance as when they are fresh.
I say tonight, no more.
What harmony is this? My good friends, hark!
Marvelous sweet music.
Give us kind keepers, heavens! What are these?
Living drollery. Now I will believe that there are unicorns, that in Arabia there is one tree, the phoenix's throne, one phoenix at our hour reigning there.
I'll believe both. And what does else want credit? Come to me, and I'll be sworn 'tis true. Travelers ne'er did lie, though fools at home condemn 'em.
If in Naples I should report this now, would they believe me? If I should say I saw such islanders, for certes these are people of the island, who though they are of monster shape, yet note their manners are more gentle, kind. Of our human generation you shall find many, nay, almost any.
Honest Lord, thou hast said well, for some of you there present are worse than devils.
I cannot too much muse. Such shapes, such gesture, and such sound expressing, although they want use of tongue, a kind of excellent dumb discourse.
Praise in departing.
They vanished strangely.
No matter, since they have left their viands behind, for we have stomachs. Will it please you taste of what is here?
Not I.
Oh, faith, sir, you need not fear. When we were boys, who would believe that there were mountaineers dew-lapped like bulls, whose throats had hanging at 'em wallets of flesh, or that there were such men whose heads stood in their breasts, which now we find each put her out of 5, for one will bring us good warrant of.
I will stand to and feed. Although my last, no matter, since I feel the best is past. Brother, my lord the Duke, stand to and do as we.
You are 3 men of sin, whom destiny that hath to instrument this lower world and what is in it, the never surfeited sea, hath caused to belch up you. And on this island, where man doth not inhabit, you mongst men, being most unfit to live, I have made you mad. And even with such like valor, men hang and drown their proper selves. You fools! I and my fellows are ministers of fate. The elements, of whom your swords are tempered, may as well wound the loud winds, or with be mocked at stabs, kill the still closing waters, as diminish one dow that's in my gloom. My fellow ministers are like invulnerable. If you could hurt, your swords are now too messy for your strengths, and will not be uplifted. But remember, for that's my business to you, that you three from Milan did supplant good Prospero, exposed unto the sea, which hath requited him and his innocent child, for which foul deed the powers delay, not forgetting, have incensed the seas and shores, yea, all the creatures against your peace. See of thy son, Alonso, they have bereft, and do pronounce by me lingering perdition, worse than any death can be at once, shall step by step attend you and your ways, whose wraths to guard you from, which here in this most desolate isle else falls upon your heads, is nothing but heart sorrow and a clear life ensuing.
Bravely the figure of this harpy hast thou performed, my Ariel. A grace it had, devouring. Of my instruction hast thou nothing bated in what thou hast to say. So, with good life and observation strange, my meaner ministers their several kinds have done, my high charms work, and these mine enemies are all knit up in their distractions. They are now in my power, and in these fits I leave them while I visit young Ferdinand, whom they suppose is drowned, and his and mine loved darling.
In the name of something holy, sir, why stand you there in this strange stare?
Oh, it is monstrous, monstrous. Methought the billows spoke and told me of it. The winds did sing to me, and the thunder, that deep and dreadful organ pipe, pronounced the name of Prosper. It did base my trespass. Therefore my son in the ooze is bedded, and I'll seek him deeper than e'er plummet sounded, and with him there lie mudded.
But one fiend at a time, I'll fight their legions o'er.
I'll be thy second.
All three of them are desperate. Their great guilt, like poison given to work, a great time after, now begins to bite the spirits. I do beseech you that are of suppler joints, follow them swiftly and hinder them from what this their ecstasy may now provoke them to.
Follow, I pray you.
If I have too austerely punished you, your compensation makes amends. For I have given you here a third of mine own life, or that for which I live, who once again I tender to thy hand. All thy vexations were but my trials of thy love, and thou hast strangely stood the test. Here before heaven I ratify this my rich gift, O Ferdinand. Do not smile at me that I boast of her, for thou shalt find she will outstrip all praise and make it halt behind her.
I do believe it against an oracle.
Then, as my gift and thine own acquisition worthily purchased, take my daughter. But if thou dost break her virgin knot before all sanctimonious ceremonies may with full and holy rite be ministered, no sweet aspersion shall the heavens let fall to make this contract grow, but barren hate, sour-eyed disdain, and discord shall bestrew the union of your bed with weeds so loathly that you shall hate it both. Therefore take heed, as Hymen's lamps shall light you.
As I hope for quiet days, fair issue, and long life, with such love as 'tis now, the murkiest den, the most opportune place, the strongest suggestion our worser genius shall never melt mine honor into lust, to take away the edgy of that day's celebration, when I shall think of Phoebus' steeds are foundered or night kept chained below.
Fairly spoke. Then sit and talk with her. She is thine own. What, Ariel, my industrious servant Ariel?
What would my potent master? Here I am.
Thou and thy mean fellows your last service did worthily perform. I must use you in such another trick. Go, bring the rabble, or whom I give thee power, here to this place. Incite them to quick motion, for I must bestow upon the eyes of this young couple some vanity of mine art. It is my promise, and they expect it from me.
Presently.
Aye, with a twink.
Before you can say come and go and breathe twice and cry, so, each one tripping on his toe will be here with mop and mow. Do you love me, master? No.
Dearly, my delicate Ariel, do not approach till thou dost hear me call.
Well, I can see.
Look thou be true. Do not give dalliance too much the rein. The strongest oaths are straw to the fire in the blood. Be more abstemious, or else good night your vow.
I warrant you, sir, the white cold virgin snow upon my heart abates the ardor of my liver.
Well, now come, my Ariel. Bring a corollary rather than want a spirit. Appear and pertly. No tongue, all eyes, be silent.
Circes, most bounteous lady, thy rich lays of wheat rye, barely vetches, oats, and peas, thy turfy mountains, where live nibbling sheep, and flat meads thatched with stove for them to keep. Thy banks with peoned and twilled brims, which soggy April at thy hest betrims, to make cold nymphs chaste crowns, and thy broom groves, whose shadow the dismissed bachelor loves. Being last lorn, thy pole-clipped vineyard, and thy sea marge, sterile and rocky hard, where thou thyself dost err, the queen, or the sky, whose watchery arch and messenger I am, bids thee leave these with her sovereign grace, here on this grass plot, in this very place, to come and sport her peacocks fly amain, approach rich Circes to entertain.
Hail, many-colored messenger, that now dost disobey the wife of Jupiter, who with thy saffron wings upon thy flowers diffuseth honey drops, refreshing showers, and with each end of thy blue bow dost crown my bosky acres and my unshrubbed down, rich scarf to my proud earth. Why hath thy queen summoned me hither to this short-grassed green?
A contract of true love to celebrate, and some donation freely to a state on blessed lovers.
Tell me, heavenly beau, if Venus or her son, as thou dost know, do now attend the queen, since they did plot the means that dusky dis my daughter got, her and her blind boys scandaled company I have forsworn.
Of her society be not afraid. I met her deity, cutting the clowns towards Paphos and her son, dove drawn with her. Here thought they have done some wanton charm upon this man and maid. These vows are that no bed right shall be paid, till Hymen's torch be lighted, but in vain Mars' hot minion is returned again. Her waspish head son has his broke arrows, swears he will shoot no more, but play with sparrows, and be a boy right out.
Highest queen of state, great Juno comes. I know her by her gait.
How does my bounteous sister go with me to bless this twain, that they may prosperous be and honored in their issue? Honor, riches, marriage, blessing, long continuance and increasing, hourly joys be still upon you. Juno sings her blessings upon you.
Thirst increase, poison plenty, barns and garners never empty, vines and clustering, bunches growing, plants with goodly burden bowing. Spring come to you at the farthest, in the very end of the harvest. Scarcity and want shall shun you, Ceres' blessing so is on you.
This is a most majestic vision and harmonious charmingly. May I be bold to think these spirits?
Spirits, which mine art I have from their confines called to enact my present fancies.
Let me live here forever. So rare a wondered father and a wise makes this place paradise.
Sweet now, silence. Juno and Ceres whisper seriously, there's something else to do. Hush and be mute, or else our spell is marred.
You nymphs call naiads of wandering brooks, with your sedge crows and ever harmless looks, leave your crisp channels on this green land. Answer your summons, Juno does command. Come, temperate nymphs, and help to celebrate the contract of true love. Be not too late. You sunburned sickle men of all oh, shit. Pause? Can we pause? You sunburned sickle men of August weary, come hither from the furrow and be merry. Make holiday your rye straw hats put on, and these fresh nymphs encounter everyone in country footing.
I had forgot that foul conspiracy of the beast Caliban and his confederates against my life. The minute of their plot is almost come. Well done. Avoid no more.
This is strange. Your father's in some passion that works him strongly.
Never till this day saw I him touched with anger so distempered.
You do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Be cheerful, sir. Our revels now are ended. These our actors, as I foretold you, are all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous places, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit, shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made of, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Sir, I am vexed. Bear with my weakness. My old brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire into my cell and there repose. A turn or two I'll walk to still my beating mind.
We wish you peace.
Come with a thought. I thank thee, Ariel. Come.
Thy thoughts I cleave to. What's thy pleasure?
Spirit, we must prepare to meet with Caliban.
Aye, my commander. When I presented Caris, I thought to have told thee of it, but I feared lest I might anger thee.
Say again, where didst thou leave these varlets?
I told you so. They were red hot with drinking, so full of valor that they smelt the air for breathing in their faces. Beat the ground for kissing of their feet, yet always bending towards their project. Then I beat my tabor, at which, like unbacked colts, they pricked their ears, advanced their eyelids, lifted up their noses as they smelt music. So I charmed their ears that, cat-like, they my lowing followed through toothed briars, sharp furzes, pricking gorse and thorns, which entered their frail shins. At last I left them in the filthy mantled pool beyond yourself. They're dancing up to their chins, that the foul lake forstunk their feet.
This was well done, my bird. Thy shape invisible retain thou still. The trumpery in my house, go bring it hither, for stale to catch these thieves.
I go.
A devil, a born devil, on whose nurture can never stick, on whom my pains, humanly taken, all lost, quite lost. And as with age his body uglier grows, so his mind with cankers. I will plague them all, even to roaring.
Come, hang them on this line.
Pray you, tread softly, that the blind mole may not hear a footfall. We now are near his cell.
Sir, your fairy, which you say is a harmless fairy, hath done little better than played the jack with us.
Monster, I do smell all horse piss, at which my nose is in great indignation.
So is mine. Do you hear, monster? If I should take a displeasure against you, look you.
Thou wert but a lost monster.
Good my lord, give me thy favor still. Be patient, for the prize I'll bring thee to shall hoodwink this mischance. Therefore, speak softly. All's hushed at midnight yet.
Aye, but to lose our bottles in the pool?
There's not only disgrace and dishonor in that, monster, but an infinite loss.
That's more to me than my wedding. Yet this is your harmless fairy monster?
I will fetch off my bottle, though I be o'er ears for my labor.
Prithee, my queen, be quiet. Seest thou here? This is the mouth of the cell. No noise, and enter. Do that good mischief which may make this island thine own forever. And I, thy CALIBAN, for thy foot liquor.
Give me thy hand. I do begin to have bloody thoughts.
Oh, King Stephano, oh peer, oh worthy Stephano, look what I've found here is for thee.
Let it alone, thou fool, it is but trash.
Oh, monster, we know what belongs to a frippery. Oh, King Stephano.
Put off that gown, Trinculo. By this hand, I'll have that gown.
Thy grace shall have it.
The dropsy drown this fool! What do you mean to dote thus on such luggage? Let it alone and do the murder first. If he awake, from toe to crown he'll fill our skins with pinches, make us strange stuff.
Be quiet, monster. Mistress Line, is not this my jerkin? Now is the jerkin under the line. Now, jerkin, you are like to lose your hair and prove a bald jerkin.
Do. We steal by line and level, and like your grace.
I thank thee for that jest. Here's a garment for it. Shall not go unrewarded while I am queen of this country. Steal by line and level is an excellent passive pate. There is another garment for it.
Monster, come, put some lime upon your fingers, and away with the rest.
I will have none of it. We shall lose our time and be turned to barnacles or to apes with foreheads villainous low.
Monster, lay to your fingers. Hope to bear this away where my hog's head of wine is, or I'll turn you out of my queendom. Go to, carry this.
And this.
And this.
Hey, mountain, hey!
Silver, there goes Silver!
Fury! There, tyrant, there! Hark! Go, charge my goblins, that they grind their joints with dry convulsions, shorten up their sinews with aged cramps, and more pinch-spotted make them than pard or catamountain.
Hark there!
Let them be hunted soundly at this hour. Lies at my mercy all mine enemies. Shortly shall all my labors end, and thou shall have an heir at freedom. For a little, follow me and do me service. Now does my project gather to a head. My charms crack not, my spirits obey, and time goes upright with his carriage. How's the day?
On the 6th hour, at which time, my lord, you said our work should cease.
I did say so, when first I raised the Tempest. Say, my spirit, how fares the king and his followers?
Fine. Together, in the same fashion as you gave in charge, just as you left them, all prisoners, sir, in the lion grove, which weather fends yourself. They cannot budge till your release. The king, his brother, and yours abide, all three distracted, and the remainder mourning over them, brimful of sorrow and dismay. but chiefly him that you termed, sir, the good old Lord Gonzalo. His tears run down his beard like winter's drops from heaps of reed. Your charm so strongly works him that if you beheld them, your affections would become tender.
Dost thou think so, spirit?
Oh, mine would. Were I human.
And mine shall. Hast thou, which art but air, a touch, a feeling of their afflictions, and shall not myself, one of their kind, that relish all as sharply passion as they, be kindlier moved than thou art? Though with their high wrongs I am struck to the quick, yet with my nobler reason against my fury do I take part. The rarer action is in virtue than in vengeance. They being penitent, the sole drift of my purpose doth extend, not a frown further. Go, release them, Ariel. My charms I'll break, their senses I'll restore, and they shall be themselves.
I'll fetch them, sir.
You elves of hills, brooks, standing lakes and groves, and you that on the sands with printless foot do chase the ebbing Neptune and do fly him, when he comes back, you dimmy pumpets that by moonshine do the green sour ringlets make, whereof the yew not bites, and you whose pastime is to make midnight mushrooms that rejoice to hear the solemn curfew, by whose aid, weak masters though you be, I have bedimmed the noontime sun, called forth the mutinous winds, and twixt the green sea and the azured vault set roaring war. To the dread rattling thunder have I given fire, by rifted Jove's stout oak with his own bolt the strong-based promontory have I made shake, and by the spurs plucked up the pine and cedar graves at my command, and waked their sleepers, oped, and let 'em forth by my so potent arc. But this rough magic I here abjure, and when I have required some heavenly music, as even now I do, to work mine end upon their senses, that this airy charm is for, I'll break my staff, bury it certain fathoms in the earth, and deeper than did ever plummet sound, I'll drown my book. The solemn air and the best comforter to an unsettled fancy, cure thy brains, now useless, boiled within thy skull, there stand, for you're all spells stopped. Holy Gonzalo, honorable man, mine eyes, insociable to this show of thine, fall fellowly drops. The charm dissolves apace, and as the morning steals upon the night, melting the darkness, so their rising senses begin to chase the ignorant fumes that mantle their clearer reason. O good Gonzalo, my true preserver, and a loyal sir to him thou followest, I will pay thy graces home in word and deed. Most cruelly did thou, Alonso, use me and my daughter. Thy brother was a furtherer in the act. Thou art pinched for it now, Sebastian. Flesh and blood, you brother mine, that entertained ambition, expelled remorse in nature, whom with Sebastian, whose inward pinches their honor most strong, would here have killed your king? I do forgive thee. Unnatural though thou art, their understanding begins to swell. and the approaching tide will shortly fill the reasonable shore that now lies foul and muddy. Not one of them that yet looks on me or would know me. Ariel, fetch me the hat and rapier in my cell. I will discase me as sometime present as I was. Milan, quickly, spirit, thou shalt ere long be free.
Where the beast sucks, there suck I, in a cowslit still I lie. There a couch when owls do cry, on the bat's back I do play after summer merrily, merrily, merrily shall I live now under the blossom that hangs on the bough.
Why, that's my dainty Ariel. I shall miss thee, but yet thou shalt have freedom. So. To the king's ship, invisible as thou art, there shalt thou find the mariners asleep under the hatches. The master and the boatswain, being awake, enforce them to this place, and presently, I prithee.
I drink the air before me in return, or ere your pulse twice beat.
All torment, trouble, wonder, and amazement inhabits here. Some heavenly power guide us out of this fearful country.
Behold, Sir King, the wronged Duke of Milan, Prospero, for more assurance than a living prince doth speak to thee, I embrace the body. And to thee and thy company, I bid a hearty welcome.
Where thou beest here, no, or some enchanted trifle to abuse me, as late I have been, I not know. Thy pulse beats as of flesh and blood, and since I saw thee, the affliction of my mind amends, with which I fear a madness held me. This must crave, and if this be at all, a most strange story. Thy dukedom I resign, and do entreat thou pardon my wrongs. But how should Prospero be living and be here?
First, noble friend, let me embrace thine age, whose honor cannot be measured or confined.
Whether this be or not, I'll not swear.
Yet do not yet taste some subtleties the isle that will not let you believe things certain. Welcome, my friends all. But you, my brace of lords, were I so minded, I could pluck his highness's frown upon you and justify you traitors. At this time, I will tell no tales.
Devil speaks in him.
No. For you, most wicked sir, whom to call brother would infect my mouth, I do forgive thy rankest fault, all of them, and require my dukedom of thee, which perforce I know thou must restore.
If thou be Prospero, give us particulars of thy preservation, how thou hast met us here, whom 3 hours since were racked upon this shore, where I have lost. How sharp the point of this remembrance is, my dear son, Ferdinand.
I am woe for it, sir.
Irreparable is the loss, and patience says it is past her cure.
I rather think you have not sought her help of whose soft grace for the like loss I have her sovereign aid, and rest myself content.
You the like loss?
As great to me as late, and supportable, to make the dear loss have I means much weaker than you may call to comfort you. For I have lost my daughter.
A daughter? Oh, heavens, that they were living both in Naples, the king and queen there. That they were, I wish myself were mudded in that oozy bed where my son lies. When did you lose your daughter?
In this last tempest, I perceive these lords at this encounter do much admire that they devour their reason, and scarce think their eyes do offices of truth. Their words are natural breath. But howsoever you have been justled from your senses, know for certain that I am Prospero, and that very Duke which was thrust forth of Milan, who most strangely upon this shore where you were racked was landed to be lord on it. No more of this yet, for 'tis a chronicle of day by day, not a retaliation for a breakfast, nor befitting this first meeting. Welcome, sir. This cell's my court. Here I have few attendants, my subjects, none abroad. Pray you look in. My dukedom, since you have given me again, I will requite you with as good a thing, at least bring forth a wonder to content you, as much as me my dukedom.
Sweet Lord, you play me false.
Oh, my dearest love, I would not for the world.
Yes, for a score of kingdoms you should wrangle, and I would call it fair play.
This prove a vision of the island. One dear son shall I twice lose.
A most high miracle.
Though the seas threaten, they are merciful. I have cursed them without cause.
Now all the blessings of a glad father compass thee about. I rise and say how thou camest here.
Oh, wonder! How many goodly creatures are there here! How beauteous mankind is! Oh, brave new world that has such people in't!
'Tis new to thee.
What is this maid whom thou wast at play? Your eldest acquaintance cannot be 3 hours. She the goddess that has severed us and brought us thus together?
Sir, she is mortal, but by immortal providence, she is mine. I chose her when I could not ask my father for his advice, nor thought I had one. She is daughter to the famous Duke of Milan, of whom so often I have heard renown, but never saw before, of whom I have received a second life, and second father, this lady makes him to me.
I am hers. But, oh, how oddly will it sound that I must ask my child forgiveness.
There, sir, stop. Let us not burden our remembrances with a heaviness that's gone.
I have inly wept, or should have spoke ere this. Look down, you gods, and on this couple drop a blessed crown. For it is you that have chalked forth the way which brought us hither.
I say amen, Gonzalo.
Was Milan thrust from Milan, that his issue should become kings of Naples? Oh, rejoice beyond a common joy, and set it down with gold on lasting pillars. In one voyage did Claribel her husband find at Tunis, and Ferdinand her brother found a wife, where he himself was lost. Prospero his dukedom in a poor isle, and all of us ourselves, when no man was his own.
Give me your hands. Let grief and sorrow still embrace his heart, that doth not wish you joy.
Be it so. Amen. Oh, look, sir. Sir, look, here is more of us. I prophesied if a gallows were on land, this fellow could not drown. Now, blasphemy, that swearest grace or board, not an oath on shore? Hast thou no mouth by land? What is the news?
Best news is that we have safely found our king and company. The next, our ship, which but 3 glasses since we gave out, split. Plight and Yare, and bravely rigged as when we first put out to sea.
Sir, all this service have I done since I went.
My tricksy spirit.
These are not natural events. They strengthen from strange to stranger. Say, how come you hither?
I did think, sir, I were well awake, I'd strive to tell you. We were dead of sleep, and how we know not, all clapped under hatches. But where even now, with strange and several noises of roaring, shrieking, howling, jingling chains, and the more diversity of sounds, all horrible, we were wakened straight away at liberty, where we in all her trim freshly beheld our royal, good, and gallant ship, our master capering to eye her. On a trice, so please you, even in a dream we were divided from them, and were brought moping hither.
Must well die.
Bravely, my diligence, thou shalt be free.
This is as strange a maze as e'er man trod. And there is in this business more than nature was ever conduct of. Some oracle must rectify our knowledge.
Sir, my liege, do not infest your mind with beating on the strangeness of this business. At picked leisure, which shall be shortly, single I'll resolve you, which to you shall seem probable of every these happened accidents, till when be cheerful, and think of each thing well. Come hither, spirit. Set Caliban and his companions free. Untie the spell. How fares my gracious sir? There are yet missing of your company some few odd lads that you remember not.
Every man shift for all the rest, and let no man take care for himself, for all is but fortune. Coraggio, bully monster, coraggio.
If these be true spies, which I wear in my head, here's a goodly sight.
Oh, Shetibos, these be brave spirits indeed. How fine my master is, I'm afraid he will chastise me.
What things are these, my lord Antonio? Will money buy them?
Very like. One of them is a plain fish, and no doubt marketable.
Mark but the badges of these men, my lords. Then say if they be true. This misshapen knave, his mother was a witch, and one so strong that could control the moon, make flows and ebbs, and deal in her command without her power. These 3 have robbed me, and this demi-devil, for he's a bastard one, had plotted with them to take my life. 2 of these fellows you must know and own. This thing of darkness I acknowledge mine.
I shall be pinched to death.
Not this STEPHANO, my drunken butler?
He is drunk now. Where had he wine?
And TRINCULO is reeling ripe. Where should they find this grand liquor that hath gilded them? How camest thou in this pickle?
I have been in such a pickle since I saw you last that I fear me will never out of my bones. I shall not be fear of fly blowing.
Why, how now, Stefano?
Touch me not. I am not Stefano, but a cramp.
You'd be the king of the Isles, Sarah.
I should have been a Sorwan then.
This is as strange a thing as e'er I looked on.
He is as disproportioned in his manners as in his shape. Go, Sarah, to my cell. Take with you your companions. As you look to have my pardon, trim it handsomely.
Aye, that I will, and I'll be wise hereafter and seek for grace. What a thrice double ass was I to take this drunkard for a god and worship this dull fool.
Go to, away.
Hence, and bestow your luggage where you found it.
Or stole it, rather.
Sir, I invite your highness and your train to my poor cell, where you shall take your rest for this one night, which part of it I'll waste with such discourse as, I not doubt, shall make it go quick away, the story of my life, and the particular accidents gone by since I came to this isle. And in the morn, I'll bring you to your ship, and so to Naples, where I have hoped to see the nuptial of these our dear beloved solemnized. And thence retire me to Milan, where every third thought shall be my grave.
I long to hear the story of your life, which must take the ear strangely.
I'll deliver all, and promise you calm seas, auspicious gales, and sail so expeditious that will catch your royal fleet far off. My Ariel, chick, that is thy charge. Then to the elements, be free, and fare thou well. Please you, draw near. Now my charms are all o'erthrown, and what strength I have, I know, which is most faint. Now, 'tis true, I must be here confined by you or sent to Naples. Let me not, since I have my dukedom got, and pardon the deceiver, dwell in this bare island by your spell, but release me from my bands with the help of your good hands. Gentle breath of yours my sails must fill, or else my project fails, which was to please. Now, I want spirits to enforce, art to enchant, and my ending is despair, unless I be relieved by prayer, which pierces so that it assaults mercy itself and frees all faults. As you from crimes would pardoned be, let your indulgence set me free.